Thanks for having me, everybody. My name is Rob Lazeo. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited about this program. My wife actually works with Alana. We have, sort of teenage kids. My daughter's 22. She's a college athlete. My son's 19. He's a college athlete. So they've gone through what you guys are going through, right? And so, like I said, I played professional football for 14 years in the CFL. I went through a lot of challenges growing up. And so today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about perseverance. All right, everybody goes through different challenges in their life, different upbringings. We all come from different family backgrounds, right? And so we experience things a little differently than everybody else. Are you okay? You're hearing this? All right, okay, good. So I'm just going to start with telling you guys a little bit about myself. All right, life wasn't, just because I played professional football, it wasn't an easy path that I took. All right, I grew up with a single mom. I had, she raised 2 boys. We were not wealthy. Luckily, I was good enough at football that I earned a scholarship to play football in the United States. I went down to school in Illinois. I probably wouldn't have gone to college if I didn't get a scholarship. I wasn't a straight A student. I was barely scraping by. And it probably wasn't till about the end of grade 11 when I started getting recruited by all the big schools that my counselor came to me and kicked me in the butt and said, if you want to do this, you got to pull it together. Like, I was on the verge of being kicked out of school. It just wasn't the right environment for me. In class just isn't for everybody. All right, that structured of you got to go to this class at this time and this class at that time. So luckily it did work out. I did get a scholarship, but one of the things that my very first challenge that I faced in high school was being a top recruited athlete. And I don't want to say I was one of the top recruited athletes, but I was getting visits from head coaches in all over, USC, Washington, Notre Dame. They were coming to my house and sitting down with me and telling me, we want you to come to our school. So I go into my senior year, my very first game of high school football. We're out in Richmond, and just tell you a quick little story about my first challenge I faced in life. It's halftime. So we've come in, we're getting our butt handed to us, and we go back out, we finish the game. And sometime between halftime and the end of the game, somebody broke into our locker room and stole everything. Like every wallets, money, keys, anything anybody had. And so I was a little bit upset from not only the game, but that. So I came out of the locker room and I walked down a hall, and I don't know if you know, like school doors, they have the windows in the door with the bar, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? You got to hit the bar to open it. Well, my dumbass hit the window on the door to open it. Well, the window had been smashed out at some point and replaced with non-shatterproof glass, that usually has the mesh in it. So I went right through the window, and I pulled my arms back out and then kicked the door open and went outside, and there was blood everywhere. Obviously I had gone through a window. And luckily there was an ambulance on site already that was dealing with somebody who had been hurt on the field. And so I'm looking around like, where's all this blood? I see blood all over my arms, so I have football gloves on. The first thing I'm trying to do is undo the Velcro to take my gloves off. And I can't. I'm like, what is going on? And I turn like this, and I don't know if you can see it, I have scars on my arms, but I severed every muscle in my forearm. I was half an inch from severing a nerve in one arm, severed my tricep. So long story short, all these teams that were recruiting me dropped me. Like, all of a sudden you go from being the #1 recruit, right? And you're living the dream. You're like, oh, this is great. I'm going to go play at Notre Dame or USC. They're all calling now and saying, I'm sorry, but we're gonna move on. So I'm devastated. I'm 17 years old. I'm not going to go to college. Now what am I going to do, right? So luckily, after I missed my entire senior year of high school football, right? Luckily, I stayed strong, mentally strong, kept working out. I had a good head coach that was more like a father to me. I didn't have a dad growing up, right? So he helped guide me. And luckily, I was able to go to a junior college in the state of Washington. and play football again. So this was like, okay, I got a second chance here. What am I going to do with it? Turned out pretty good for me. It worked out well. I made the first team all region, which included a few states, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, whatever it was. Then I come to find out, football's over. 1 week later, they dropped the football program at the junior college that I just signed at. Now what am I going to do? Luckily, I had a good year. I got recruited by a bunch of Division I. At the time, it was 1 AA schools. They don't have that anymore. It's all Division I now. But took my recruiting trips, went to a school in Illinois, played football there for a few years. My life's back on track, right? Things are going well. You know, you have your challenges about how hard you have to train to maintain the level that you want to be at. I'm playing my junior year. It's the first or second game of my junior year, okay? And I had an injury. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of what a burner is. Do you guys know what a burner is? So it's when you get hit a certain way in your neck, you have like a brief neurological damage where it heats up and you lose strength to your arm. So I came out of the game, my arm was hanging there, I had no strength. About 20 minutes later, I got a little bit of strength back, coach sends me back in, all's good. I wake up the next morning and I can't move my arm. Have you guys ever slept on your arm funny? Where it's like all tingly and it's kind of like really weak and you're like, come on, wake up, like come on, right? Well, mine didn't wake up. That was the feeling I had, but mine didn't wake up. So it turns out that I tore a nerve in my neck and it partially paralyzed my arm. So all of my muscles, down my shoulder, my trap, my bicep, they all atrophied. I couldn't lift my arm over my head. So just like simply, shaving or shampooing the hair that I don't have anymore, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do a push-up. I couldn't do anything. So here I am. I'm thousands of miles away in university. All I want to do is go to school and play football, and now I can't even play football. So I go through a bit of depression, fighting through that, but I had great coaches as well, right? That helped guide me through overcoming that and persevering through this injury. And I trained for almost 2 years. I medical redshirted 1 year, and then I redshirted the next year. So I missed almost 2 full years of football in college. And I'm down in Illinois going to school where, why am I going to Illinois if I'm not playing football, right? So it was a challenge mentally, day to day, but I was in the training room. Anything the trainer or the coaches said, this is what you're gonna do, I did it. I soaked it in. Because all I wanted to do was have that one small chance to play again. And every doctor I went and saw down in Illinois, like specialists, I went to umpteen dozen specialists who hooked me up to electrodes and run current through me to find out what was wrong, said, you're probably never gonna play football again. And you may never have use of your left arm like you did before. 2 years later, I get cleared to play football again. I'm like, this is crazy. I play my next year, I get drafted in the CFL. I don't even know that I'm in the CFL draft. I don't know how that even worked. Somebody somewhere saw me playing or something, and I got to play in the Canadian Football League. So I actually turned down the team that drafted me. I said, I want to finish my college career. I want to play my last year because I had missed a couple years. So I stayed and played. So then I went up the next year, went up to Saskatchewan Roughriders. I was drafted in the first round of the Canadian Football League draft, not even knowing that I was getting drafted. I go up and I'm thinking I'm having a great camp. And I get the knock on the door. Coach needs to see you bring your playbook. Well, that's never a good sign. So I go see the coach. He gives me the bad news. We're gonna have to let you go. I'm like, let me go. All this work, my career's over. What am I gonna do? I mean, obviously football's not everything and sports isn't everything, but all I could think of the moment I got released and was driving home was what am I gonna do to get back to where I was? So the only thing I could think of was that drive. What is it gonna take to get back there? So I go home, I become average Joe citizen, I get a job. I train every day harder than I did when I was, in college. And when you're in college and you're playing sports, it's like the military, right? Like when you get a full scholarship, I don't know how it is now. This is back in the 90s when, yeah, it's probably similar, right? They own you. And I trained harder than that. And it's difficult, right? To motivate yourself and to be able to go and say, you know, everybody's doing things at a certain level, right? There are people that are training, you guys are all high-level athletes. You're probably all training like you have been here even. You're training very hard. But the thing is, everybody's kind of training hard, right? It's those great players, and I'm not saying I was great, but I'm saying if you want to be those great players, you got to train harder than the average players that are all training hard, right? So that's the difference that I found. The only way I'm going to get back is I got to be better than I was. Obviously, I wasn't good enough. I got cut. I'm going to come back and be better. So I luckily got invited back to training camp the next year, made the team. Everything was going somewhat well. I've had a few injuries over the years that have been some setbacks. My knees are not that healthy anymore, my back, my shoulders. But it's all that path that you go down in life, right? So when you're struggling and you're going through, you know, that everybody has it at times, that poor me kind of mentality, like why me? Why does this happen to me? It's what are you going to do with that, right? Where are you going to take it to in the next level? Are you going to say this is good enough? Or are you going to move on and go to the next level? Work harder. Use that as the inner drive, right? To drive you. So I was lucky that I had that mentality to be able to do that. And you know, one of the cool things, you know, being lucky, got to play for many years in the CFL. I got to go to a couple Grey Cups. And the very first Grey Cup I went to, it was in 1997. And we were playing, I don't know if you guys watch football or anything, but Doug Flutie was a pretty famous quarterback in the CFL and also in the NFL. He went to the NFL after. So his last year in the CFL, he was playing the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He was playing for Toronto, and we were playing in Edmonton, and they put a pretty good beat down on us. And so it was a bit of a tough moment to know that, you know, you get to the pinnacle, the championship game, and you don't always win the games, right? But that's okay, because there's always a winner and a loser. It's not about only winning the games. It's about what do you learn from that, right? What do you learn from those times where you're in the battle, in the heat of the moment, in the pool, you're tired, your legs are burning. Like, I don't know how you guys do it. When you guys, I mean, you can't touch bottom in your pool. So fill me in, I don't know a lot about water polo, but how long is a game of water polo? 38 minutes? So like you go in quarters? And how long is each quarter? So even like, I'm assuming like ref will blow the whistle for a foul or a penalty shot but even during those times, you're still treading water, right? So you're nonstop, you're working the whole time. Even when the play's not even coming to you, you still are working, right? So that's amazing but you guys, it's probably like second nature, right? Because you're all like, well, you know, this is what I do. And your body, and it's like mind over matter. You guys have trained so much that you don't even have to tell your body to tread water, right? But are you guys ready when the ball does come to you? You wouldn't be where you are right now if you weren't, right? So you've done something in your lives to prepare yourself, whether it's practice, in the pool, out of the pool, dry land training, whatever it is. You guys have done something, right, to get to where you are. And that's the whole thing about perseverance. You don't have to have a catastrophic injury. You don't have to have something bad happen to you. You just have to be able to take what you have experienced in life and learn from it and grow from it and get better from it, right? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about. It's not about, you know, everybody goes through challenges in life, right? You don't have to be an athlete to go through challenges in life. You just have to live a normal day. But there's a lot of people in this world that are, poor me. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Bad things happen to everybody, right? That's just part of life. But what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that? The thing about life is, to get ahead in life, you got to do something better than the average person, right? And whether that's harder work, a better mentality, whatever it may be, it's different for everybody, right? It could be, like it's 7 o'clock at night and you're supposed to meet a buddy at the gym to train. Well, I'm tired today. I don't want to go today. I'll go tomorrow. But is that working for you? How many people have ever gone into a practice and thought, I don't want to practice today? I have. Honestly, everybody, right? We've all gone to practice, whatever it may be, and been like, I don't want, this isn't for me today. But those moments in life where you decide, you make that decision, when you get to practice, and you're going to make the best of what you're doing, some of those times are the best practices you've ever had. Have you guys ever experienced that? Where you go into a workout, you're dog tired, you go into practice, you're like, your back's sore that day, or maybe you're not feeling well, maybe you're sick. Some of the best games that I ever played, I was throwing up, it was coming out of both ends. And I remember one game I had, minutes before I was late coming out. I missed half the warm up because I was on the toilet and standing over a garbage can. And it was one of the best games I ever had. I don't know why. I had no energy. I felt like so weak, but I think your mind is so strong, right? And it's mind over matter. If it doesn't matter, then you don't mind it, right? You just have to be able to figure out, like for you, what that is that overcomes that moment in life, that moment in time. It's such a small blip in time, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, was just, persevering through different challenges in your life. Mentally, physically, emotionally. There's so many distractions in this world that we face. You guys are so lucky to be in the situation that you guys are in, having great coaches, having great leadership. I really wish that we had stuff like this for our kids. I mentioned our 2 kids. Our daughter's a little bit older. She played college basketball. She's retired from basketball now. She's just finishing up her school. But my son still plays golf. And he went through part of his high school years, as you guys would have too, right? Or maybe with COVID. Like maybe you guys were in middle school. I don't know how old everybody is, but probably that time where it was a transition in life. Like the world shut down. What do we do? And some people thrived in that environment with the online schooling. Some schools and teachers were better at it than others. And the one thing that I wish at the time when our son was going through it was that he had something like this where he could still do the schooling, because there was no brick and mortar school for 2 years or whatever it was, a year and a half. It was the most productive he'd ever been on a golf course, because he had the opportunity to do a little bit of his school online and then to be on the course more, right? That's the whole point of this, right? And his mental state, just, being able to be in that mindset, well, I've got to do my work here, but then I get to do this, which he loves, right? And I'm assuming you guys all love playing water polo. Like, is that like your favorite thing in life? What's your favorite thing in life? Water polo? Like if you, 24 hours a day, you'd want to play water polo? Yeah, because it makes you happy, right? So to be able to do that and do something you love all the time, that's why you guys are so lucky to be able to do this, right? So just going back to that, he's fine now. I think there was a bit of a transition period into university for him, just because of what he went, with the COVID, which I think there was for a lot of people. But he learned from that and he's grown from that, right? So, things like our kids, they probably went through a lot of things similar to you guys. You guys, how many people here want to go on to university and play water polo? All of you guys, right? You guys are all elite athletes in an elite program, and this is a stepping stone, right? It's all about rising up the ladder, right? You got to set goals, whether you're just starting out or whether you're at the top of the ladder and you're about to step off the ladder. What is your goal? Each rung of the ladder, right? Do you guys, I heard you, was it last night you did mental training with them? Is that what? So in your mental training, do you guys plan out like your daily goals, your weekly goals, your monthly goals, your yearly goals? Yeah?
We'll be doing that visioning tonight.
You'll be doing that tonight? Oh, that's a good transition then. So with your goals, the one thing that I could say is in life you have to have goals. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to have a goal. You can't go into, even if it's a fun activity, don't go into it just to have fun. Have a goal. What is your goal to have fun in that activity, right? It doesn't matter if it's a game and it's going to be a battle. Like, what are you going to work on? Like when you go into a game, for instance, do you set goals for each and every game? Not just to win or lose, right? But like, do you set specific goals?
Sometimes my coaches set goals for me too.
Yeah, good. I mean, some people need guidance, right? Because we're not used to setting those goals. But once you build that base and you know what you're working towards and what you want, you got to have dreams and aspirations, right? And that will help you set those goals to get to where you want to be. And even what I would say is set goals to dream and be bigger than you want to be. Because if you aim higher, the higher you aim, the higher you're going to go, right? Never underestimate yourself. Never underestimate yourself. Because it's amazing the things that we can do. We'll surprise ourselves. You guys will surprise yourselves every day. Set a high goal. Once you reach that goal, man, you feel amazing, right? It doesn't matter what that goal is. If you've set a goal for yourself and you reach that and you attain that goal, man, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. Best feeling in the world. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this is just knowing that you're not alone. Everybody in the world struggles. Everybody in the world has challenges. And it's how you deal with those challenges, right? Whether it's making good decisions, having a plan for your life, whatever, setting goals, whatever it is, set that in motion and always strive towards whatever your goals are, right? So I appreciate you guys having me here today. I don't know where we're at for dinner, but I wanted to see if you guys wanted to have any questions. I also wanted to pass around my ring. Some people have never seen a Grey Cup ring. So I was with Calgary Stampeders. I said I played, I got to go to 3 Grey Cups. 2 of them, once was with Saskatchewan Roughriders, once I was with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and this one I won with Calgary. So I know you're from Calgary, so I'll start with you. You can pass it around if you want to. Yes?
What is something that always trains you or motivates you in life, sports, and change?
Oh, that's a lot there. What motivates me? Well, you know, like right now, I mean, I'm not in.
Sorry. No, it's a good question.
When I was in sports, what motivated me was some of the veterans that I played with. So I was lucky that every team I played for had a great group of veteran leadership, and that, you know, they're hard on you, but they're fair with you, right? So there's a few that I could pick out, and I always wanted to be like them or better. So seeing, and that's why when you have different age groups in whether it's on your team of water polo or whatever it is, you never know when those younger players or people are watching and learning from your actions. So, I mean, a lot of people say, I want to be a leader. I want to be a captain. I want to be, whatever it is. But it's not necessarily the people that say that. It's the people that live it, right? Those are the true leaders. And so I always saw the people like that, and that's what drove me to work hard. It was usually the people that worked the hardest. In football, you would have your practices. And at the end of practice, you would do your whatever sprints or running or whatever they would have you do for conditioning. And everybody's dog tired, same as you guys. Like in your practices, like what do you guys do for conditioning?
Sprint.
In the pool, like sprints in the pool?
Yeah.
So at the end, like we used to always have this thing, like people would yell out like fourth quarter, right? Because at the end of the game in football, the fourth quarter, everybody's tired. Your opponents are tired, you're tired, but who's gonna make it? Who's gonna push through that, right? So it was the leadership that I saw that always pushed through that. And you know, they'd always say, we're gonna run you till you puke. And I always used to say, oh yeah, they can't run you till you puke. Well, if you work hard enough, they can. It's true. Do you want to pass it to them behind you? Yeah, when I was in college, the first time I got up for it was a 6 a.m. morning workout, and they had a indoor track that went kind of through and around the basketball arena. There were stands, and they must have had 30 or 40 garbage cans set up around this track, and it was like a half track. So what was that, like 200 yards or something like that? I said, what are all these garbage cans for? And they said, you'll find out. And yeah, I found out every single 6 a.m. morning workout. I found out, yeah. But yeah, that's what drove me, was seeing that leadership that brought me along, and I wanted to emulate that. Yeah, good. Yes, sir.
Did you ever play the Lions?
All the time.
I love them so much.
You know what? I like the Lions too.
I would go to games with my grandpa all the time when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I'd go with my parents too. Just go all the time.
So I'm not that old. I'm 50 years old. But when I was a kid, I used to go to games to see the Lions at Empire Stadium. So you know where the Playland and the wooden roller coaster is? That in behind there, that was Empire Stadium, right? So when BC Place was being renovated, they had a temporary stadium there. I think they actually ended up playing soccer and stuff there.
Yeah, it is.
And so we would, you know, as a kid in high school, some of our playoff games were in Empire Stadium. And I remember when it was raining out, underneath the stadium would just be leaking everywhere, and the turf was terrible. But it brought me back some good memories when we were playing the Lions at Empire Stadium. But yeah, and one of the things about the Lions, because, you know, I'm from here. No, I'm not dissing them. I like the Lions.
I'm going to be protected.
No, I like the Lions. They actually have a really good team this year. But being from here, there was a few times in my career where it would have been nice to play for the Lions, right?
Yeah.
So I became a free agent a couple times, and you know, you start the process. You don't always get to play where you want to play, right? And so I tried one time as a free agent to get on with the Lions, and they didn't want me. They said, we're going to go another direction, and they ended up drafting some young guy who was, I guess, maybe made less money or whatever. So from that moment on, every time we played the Lions, didn't matter where it was, I wanted to destroy whoever was in front of me, because whoever it was, all I saw was, you didn't want me, I wasn't good enough for you, and I'm going to show you who's good enough for you. And it was actually the year after that happened, so it was 2008, I was actually a CFL All-Star. So that gave me the drive, the Lions not wanting me, gave me the drive to play even better and harder. Yeah, there's some good clips online of me. Actually, it's funny because you don't get to watch the TV version of the game, right? When you're a player, they film your every step, every movement from like a tight angle, and that's what you study when you're watching film after. So I don't know, maybe like a month ago, somebody sent me this clip that I guess came up on whatever, YouTube or I don't know, something that was a TSN clip, and I guess I was having a battle with the guy across me, the defensive lineman for the Lions. And I guess it had been going on majority of the game. And so they were talking about me and this other guy battling. And as they were talking about me, you know how they talk about players, the camera like zooms in on that player? I slammed him. And Glenn Suter's on there, and he's like, and cue the matchup. And then, so it was like so fun to, you know, see that clip, because that would have been from, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and I would have never seen that. So that's my little story with the Lions, yeah. Yeah, but they're good question.
First of all, it's an honor listening to you today. I was wondering, in all the things that you had to persevere, would you say that it made that Grey Cup win for you all that much sweeter?
Totally. You know, like losing 2 times sucks. Like there's no worse feeling than losing a game, and especially like the championship game, right? One of them we were really close, one of them we weren't. And, when I did win, I was 12 years in the league at the time. So I was one of the old guys that, who knows how many years I have left, if I have any. Because when you're that age, you kind of get to a point where you're like, well, this might be my last year, that nobody might want me. And so I always use that as a drive too, right? To know that my time is limited. Like I was very lucky. Most guys, had their careers like 3 years or something like that, I think is the average. So getting to that 12-year mark and winning the Grey Cup was sometimes when you see people at the championship and they're speechless. I experienced that. Like you can't put words to the emotions that you're feeling when you win. I just remember all I was doing was crying, and it was just tears of joy. And I don't know other than like having, the birth of your kids and going through that emotion, that I've ever experienced tears of joy like that. And it was just uncontrollable. And I'm getting interviewed. I think Rod Black or somebody with TSM was interviewing me, and I was just like a bubbling idiot. And I was just like, not making any sense, and as most people do when they don't know what to say after winning a championship. So yeah, it meant a lot. And it took I really soaked it up and soaked it in, and because I never knew if that was going to be it, right? So yeah, it was in 2008, so I would have been 35. Yeah, my last year playing, I was the third oldest active player in the league. A quarterback, Anthony Calvillo, and Paul McCallum, a kicker. And then there was me. Yeah. When I retired? 37. Yeah, it was my last year.
Whoa, everybody do that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's old for football. I know that like Tom Brady, he played till he was like 42, but he's a quarterback. Like, yeah. And then you have
freezes himself when he sleeps.
cryo chambers and stuff. If I had that, I would have played for another 3 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But one of the biggest things about longevity is taking care of your body, right? I never took care of my body when I was younger, but I started seeing some of the old guys, and you're like, well, how is he playing this long? And he would get the treatment whatever he needed. Cold tub, hot tub. I don't know if you guys ever been in a cold tub up to your neck? And I'm talking about a cold tub, like not cold water in a tub. I'm talking about filled with buckets and buckets of ice, where you put your leg in and it burns because it stings so much. That's what I'm talking. You go up into your neck into that, like those people. I don't know where they, like Finland and stuff, where they go in the sauna and then they go roll in the snow and they go in the sauna. They live for years because it's good for you, right? And so I started doing things like that, and yeah, it's hard to do, but take care of your body. Take care of your body. Any little ailments? Yes.
What is the hardest transition for you? Like between going from being an all-star in the CFL to parenthood, just being.
So going from my all-star season, 2010, my last season, because I was older and I'd had some injury problems, I all of a sudden was not a starter. So the first, I'd say maybe 6 games of the season, I was not a starter. And I went from an all-star to not a starter. And it was difficult to deal with because I still knew I had it in me, but I didn't know the plan because I didn't go to the coach and question his decision, right? And the plan, which I found out later, was they didn't play me the whole year because I probably my body wouldn't have held up the whole year. So they did me a favor, and it helped the team in the backstretch of the season to have a good year, right? That year, I was awarded the team President's Ring. And so I don't know if you've heard about that. Every team has a President's Ring recipient, and it's given to and voted on by the players for leadership. And so because I still was a positive leader and still worked hard, I mean, a lot of players, when they get benched, they go into the tank and they're like, poor me again. Like, why me? And that's not good for anybody on the team, because it doesn't matter who you are on the team, but your actions and reactions, other people feed off that, whether it's a positive or a negative, right? So it was a great honor. It was a huge honor. It was almost bigger than winning the Grey Cup, was getting the President's Award, because I knew my teammates voted me in for that. That was pretty cool. And yeah, retiring from football, and now I'm a project manager for a company. We build water parks all over the world.
They built all
Yeah, so Aldergrove was one of my projects. Big Splash in Tawasin, the new Boomerango slide right by Tawasin Mills was my project. We build them all over the world. And
We just want a small little pool.
you just want a pool, yeah. We probably got some parts so we can,
We
yeah.
weigh 20.
Yeah.
Junior deep.
In a warehouse.
But the biggest transition, like going from an athlete to real life, is what I call it. Like I was a teacher. My background is education. I'm a high school PE biology teacher. But when I retired after 14 years, starting as a teacher, I just wasn't going to make enough money to support my family. So I had to find something else to do. And just transitioning in the real world, when there's conflict in an office, it's different than conflict on a field. It's almost like things get worked out on a team. But in office, there's like, I don't know, that was challenging. And still is to this day. Yeah. I don't know how we're doing for time. The chef's sitting here like it's.
From 10 minutes.
Oh, it's still 10 minutes ago? Okay, good.
No,
10
minutes ago?
Oh, okay. Yeah, don't let that stop though. If you guys have more questions, like,
I have a question.
yes.
A couple is combined. As a high level athlete, as you are, and I'm thankful that you're here and thank you for that. Injury, of course, is a huge part of every high level athlete, especially in a very physical sport that you do. The mental prep or how you dealt with being injured is a tough thing for any athlete, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
you actually experienced that too as well. What is one thing that really that you found got you through that period during that time?
Yeah, I think later in life, it's family, right? It's the positive environment with the family. It's like who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to have a more positive outlook in life. Same goes the other way. If you're surround yourself with, the group of people that are always like, why this and questioning that, and you're going to do the same. So with injuries, welcome.
This is Brando. He's one of our coaches. He's our
Hey,
goalie.
Brando. Good to have you. I'm Rob. So, like with injuries, and I've had some pretty serious ones where, like the nerve damage in my neck, not knowing if I would ever use my arm again, it's a tough one to deal with. And, like that's not the same as somebody being in a car accident and losing their leg. But, to me at the time, it was the most devastating thing that could have ever happened to me, right? So I did go into a difficult, dark place, but, I can't really say what it was that like got me through that. I think mostly it was the positive people on the coaching staff and the players around me always encouraging me, because when you get injured, and I don't know how it is with water polo, but most sports, you almost become an outcast when it's an injury over a long period of time, and that is hard for an athlete to deal with. It's keeping yourself involved with the team, whether it's cheering your teammates on. And some people have a hard time doing that because they have that mentality of poor me. Why can't I be out there playing? But that's why, like just staying positive and always, being that leader, whether it's from the sideline or in the pool. That's what helped me get through things like that.
And I think it's great that because everybody in your career, you guys will have
For sure.
some sort of injury.
Yeah.
Right, and it's so important, I think, to understand how other people got through it. So for me, injury actually ended my career. So, that acceptance of, you choose to retire out of the sport or water polo is done, right? What is your plan outside of that, right? And how athletes deal with injury, and, go to practices or learn what I can do or teach or do something to fulfill and then try that comeback, right? And for me, I think that's so hard being injured and going, okay, I had surgeons going, okay, I was like, let's do it now, lay me on the table, do whatever you need to do to fix me
Yep.
so that I can be back on that. You will do anything
Yeah.
to get yourself back to where you were.
And I think
Right.
also on that, I think it's important, we talked about this yesterday, how for me, I care more about you, like I think you all inspire me as athletes, but what I care more about is building amazing humans. And what I think a lot of athletes don't understand is that the characteristics that you learn in sport make you invaluable in the world.
100% agree.
The
Yeah.
characteristics that you learn in sport make you invaluable in the world. So somebody who owns multiple businesses, I would rather hire an athlete who's trained and played at a high level because they can demonstrate consistency, discipline, leadership, communication, dedication, resilience, perseverance, versus someone who, when it got hard, they went, I'm gonna quit and try something else. So what I want you guys to think about, especially transitioning into your work with Coach Lori tonight, I want you to also think about, okay, I want to spend my life playing water polo all the time, which is amazing. That's why we're here for you. But I also want you to think about what skills am I learning here that can fulfill my passion, and how can I do good for others after? Because, for example, Miss Tara, Miss Janine, both former athletes, they're invaluable members of my team, and a lot of their characteristics, they give back to students, clients, etc. And those skills that they're using are ones that they learned either as an athlete or as a coach, right? So I want you to remember what I said. When the skills that you are developing as an athlete make you invaluable as a human. And that, I think, is very important, and why I'm so thankful that Rob is here talking about kind of, how to overcome that, what life looks like after school, and then also utilizing school and water polo to shape, this version of being your best self, and something that makes you happy. I tell all my students in every class I've ever taught, I firmly believe that everyone has the right to do what they love. I think it's actually like a fundamental right in your life to do something that you love to do. Don't take a job just so you get a paycheck, because then you're going to hate it.
Yeah.
Right? Do something that you're passionate about, and I hope that at Academy that you're also able to sort of explore what those passions look like and where your strengths are.
Play sport and get paid for it. It is.
Oh,
It is the best thing you can ever do.
even when I was a rookie, making the league minimum, which I probably could have made more on a full-time job at the time, I was like, this is crazy. Somebody's paying me for all this fun I'm having, right? And just like Alana said, when you find that one thing that makes you happy and you get paid for it, or not even get paid for it, you just find the thing that brings joy in your life, you will be higher than cloud nine. Yeah.
Definitely cannot ever replace that. But the road is not easy. So the injury and accepting what you learn, but I tell you, will learn so much more from that and grow so much more, and it gives you these skills. When you're young and you're in a sport, you do everything, you're not always looking, okay, well, once my career is over, what am I going to do, right? You're just like that.
Sometimes you have, and I found that you have the blinders on, right?
You are, but knowing that, and then for me, I think having what athletes do when they have to retire, right? How they replace what the sport has given them, the adrenaline, the natural high, they don't know anything different, right? How do these that interests me, and what do they replace it within their lives? They coach, right? You've got to be able to replace it and give back to sport and do what you love and teach that and replace it. So it's, as an athlete too, looking ahead to is another interesting kind of thing. That's why I was like, that retirement is a big thing, the injury and what you learn. So sorry, that was big.
No, that's good. Some of the funnest.
Understand and hear, because it's we all get injured, and at first you're like, what the hell? I'm injured. What, poor me. no, what do I need to do to fix it and how does it grow me? And I've had 5 surgeries, so please take care of your bodies,
Yeah,
right?
that's
As
a
we
big
get
thing.
older, right?
That's why we work a
Some,
lot.
some athletes cannot make that transition.
No,
Yeah.
Some people cannot
no,
have the mindset to say, my sport career is over and I gotta do something else. And it's that transition that they have toughest time.
Yeah.
Some don't make it.
No, you see a lot of professional athletes that make a lot of money
Yeah.
and end up broke and in jail, and they didn't heed advice and leadership that they may have been given throughout the years. Yeah.
no, and that's the hard, that transition they don't do, they don't know how to do it, they
Yeah.
don't know how to replace that natural endorphin fix on what it is. Once you win and get that taste of winning in a team or an individual sport, very, very difficult to replace. Like that high, right, is,
We have some kids that have won, Western championships,
Oh, wow.
national championships in this room, and, it's also like, well, then use the, Mish, how many have you won? 47 championships, something ridiculous?
Wow.
Then it's like the next year, okay, got it, that's like, okay, we can't really settle. So, for example, Alex and Amelia, they won gold last year, they got silver this year. Did you guys like getting, or sorry,
We got
bronze
bronze.
this year? How did you guys enjoy getting bronze?
Oh, it's hard.
It's we had some rookies that I played with on the offensive line. The year we won the Grey Cup, it was their rookie year, and I tried to tell them, like, don't take this for granted. Like this is your rookie year, but some people never get here. Some people work all their lives and then finally get there, and it is hard when you've been successful early on, to not be successful every year. And that's part of, how do you deal with that too, right? I know that we're probably all hungry, but
we can maybe talk over dinner too.
yeah, I'm here all night. Yeah,
I
so
hope that you have not poisoned us. Just kidding.
there's probably lots of blood. There's probably lots of blood in the
Then you're gonna say-
fingernails and tips, right? From the.
No, people put on their swim caps.
Oh no, I'm just
No hair
joking.
in the food.
A little blood's good for you. Yeah, it's good for you.
Okay, only come back. Only once.
Rob, we'd like to thank you for your story because it's a segue into what we'll do this evening.
Good. Yeah.
If you'll permit me, I would really like to thank your wife and her commitment to
Yeah, for sure.
and what she's done for your sport. Because I know in the backdrop when you have family members there putting out, and I got to meet some of your family today for some of your athletes, and they're incredible people. So we just want to salute your wife in this.
Oh,
room, if that's
I
okay with you as
100%
well.
agree. She's amazing woman. I dragged her all over the prairies, and the prairies are great. Some people love the prairies. I'm more of a West Coast coaster, right? I like the mountains and the water, and but our kids were raised in the prairies, basically. Winnipeg, Saskatchewan. Yeah,
Thanks for being a mama.
that's right. That's right.
Tell me about your son.
About my son.
Yeah. How's his golf career going?
Yeah, it's going good. He's in his second year. They just had their first tournament.
What university?
Bushnell University. It's a private Christian university. It actually borders the University of Oregon. So there's a one-way street. So you got the big Oregon campus, and then you've got a little two-city block, smaller private school. And so they share a lot of the same facilities, but they're NAIA, Oregon's NCAA, right? So a little bit different level. But yeah, he's loving it. It's our son is. We thought he would struggle the most with going away to school, but he has thrived the most with it. Yeah, he's in the place where he wants to be and knows that he's meant to be. Second year, yeah. So University of British Columbia is actually in their conference. So UBC's men and women's golf team are like the elite. They could probably beat majority of NCAA Division I schools. They won the conference last year and won the national championship. Bushnell University lost them by 1 stroke in the conference championship. They were down by 8 strokes going into the final round, and I'm bragging on my son a little bit. He was a freshman playing with seniors and juniors from these other schools. They pair up the top teams that going down the stretch, and he shot, was he 1 under or something the final day? And their whole team did well because they were 8 strokes back, and it came down to the last player, the last shot on the last hole.
Oh,
for UBC to win and go to and then they won the national championship. Yeah. So
Actually, similar to my family. My because you said you had son and daughter.
yes,
My older sister actually plays basketball second year University at UBC.
nice, good for her.
She's on scholarship there, and then my brother is in grade 12 right now, and he's a golfer.
Oh wow.
What happened to you?
And is your brother? Where does he go to school?
He goes to my school. He's still in,
Oh,
he's in
okay.
high school. He's in grade 12. But the issue is he started golf pretty late. His handicap right now is like a 1 or something. Like
Which is really good.
it's pretty good for his age and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And he's trying to get he wants to get into like pros and stuff. Like he wants to make his money off of that.
Yeah.
And but right now the issue with him is that like he started really late. Like he started like halfway through the pandemic.
That's tough, right?
Yeah. He was just like he couldn't find anything to do, and then me and him started golfing together, and he stuck with it. And I'm like, I can't do this.
The one great thing was golf courses didn't shut down
Exactly.
because you could social distance. It was like all sports and every building.
Polo was pretty good.
Water polo was good too. Well, they said something about like the chlorine and stuff. I think they allowed that. Like,
When this province was great.
yeah, good. Yeah, he thrived,
Yeah,
right?
And my brother's, I mean, he golfs, like, I think it's absurd. Even, like, I play water polo a lot and whatever. But
Yeah.
I think it's absurd how much, like, he golfs at least 2 times a day.
Yeah,
He's on if he's not on the course, he's at the range.
so he would thrive from a program like this
Yeah.
because you have so much more time to focus on training. Right?
He said, wishes he had the same opportunities that I have. And I pity for him. He doesn't get to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
No, you guys are very lucky. You are. Yeah. Take advantage of it. Like don't ever take it for granted, right? Take advantage of the opportunities that you guys are given at every turn in life, and do the best that you can with them.
You
Yeah.
are very fortunate. Well, you can smell the toast they're burning.
Yeah.
thank you so much. This is on behalf of everybody.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. That's great. Thanks, you guys. Get that? That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for letting me talk today. Hopefully, I was able to share a little bit of my experiences in life, and you can take even a tidbit of that and help it to better your life, right? So
It's the first annual, so you'll be back.
there you go. Yeah, that's right.